A very good morning to one and all. Before we commence our program, let's begin with a moment of silent prayer. Please be seated. We are honored to commence this event with a warm welcome address by Dr. Mubarak Eki, the Secretary of GECT Alumni Association.
Respected dignitaries on and off the dais, a very warm welcome to the Gloria Gopi Kumar annual lecture series jointly organized by Electronics and Communication Engineering Department and Alumni Association of GEC Thrissur. The annual lecture series were conceived to commemorate the late Gloria Gopi Kumar, an alumna of 1988 batch ECE. This has been initiated by her classmates and friends. The first lecture in this annual series is delivered on 20th January 2020 by engineer T.N. Santosh Kumar at the Gloria Gopi Kumar Hall. The Gloria Gopi Kumar Alumni Hall, formerly the Western Amphi, underwent extensive renovations funded by a generous contribution of rupees 50 lakhs from Sri Krishna Kumar, Gloria Gopi Kumar's husband. Dr. Tessie Thomas, a distinguished alumna, officially inaugurated the hall on 20th January 2020. Today's lecture series is a heartfelt initiative by her classmates and friends to honor her memory. I extend a warm welcome to our esteemed guest speaker, engineer Meera Rajeevan, whose extensive 22 years of experience in the IT sector promises to enlighten us with invaluable insights and perspective. On behalf of GEC Thrissur Alumni Association, JECTA, I welcome you, ma'am. A special welcome is also extended to Dr. M.S. Shinith, HOD ECE, whose guidance and leadership have been instrumental in organizing this event. I welcome Dr. Naushaja PT, Alumni, GECT Alumni Association Vice President, to this function. I extend a warm welcome to the classmates, friends, and family of Gloria Gopi Kumar, whose presence here today serves as a testament to her lasting impact and influence. Last but not least, I extend a warm welcome to the faculty, especially Dr. Mohanan KP, Executive Member of JECTA, who is the coordinator of this program, and students who have joined us to honor the memory of Ms. Gloria Gopi Kumar and partake in this enriching lecture series. Once again, I welcome you at the Gloria Gopi Kumar lecture series. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Before we welcome our distinguished speaker, let's take a moment to introduce her. Srimati Meera Rajeevan is not just a name, but a beacon of knowledge and excellence in her field. She has over 22 years of experience in the IT sector with a successful track record in strategic and leadership roles across several functional areas. She has also worked in social sector as a National Program Director of Vidyadhan. She was on the Managing Committee of Thrissur Management Association. She received the Teacher Warrior Award 2023 by SCO News for her outstanding contribution to higher education. Her accomplishments speaks volumes, and we are honored to have her grace our event today. Let's warmly welcome her.
Working. Working. Good morning, everybody. This is a very, very emotional moment for me. Because that girl and I, we studied together from LKG till we completed engineering. Okay, so 4 years back, Mr. Santosh, he was our junior, he came and he gave the first Gloria Gopi Memorial speech over here. At that time, he talked about the future of engineering, what's going to happen in transportation sector. And I'm really great, I feel really great. I felt really great to listen to a visionary like that when he talked about what are the changes that are going to, how people will commute in the future, etc. And he was talking about driverless cars and things like that. And last year, one of my colleagues went to US and she was saying that the driverless cars are now available in US itself. Okay, now it is when you call for an Uber, a Tesla comes driverless and you get in and it goes. It is a reality. Okay, so to be here and to speak to all of you as part of a lecture series in memory of dear Gloria, it is indeed a great privilege. First slide. First slide. Yeah. So I joined this college 40 years back. So I was somebody, sitting on the other side. Of course, this was not AC. This was, was called Western Amphi at that time. And it was, but still, those 4 years really shaped my life. I have to say that. Okay, so I'll just start with these two pictures, So this was it. This was we were the second EC batch, 84, 88. And we were only 16 students at that time. And we were sitting in a classroom. Next to this, it was a toilet converted thing because there was no space. Electronics was very new at that time, and that was the course that we had. And we all sat on this too. We had protested, by gheraving the principal at that time to get proper facilities for ECE. Okay, so before we went out of the college, this is the final year when all of us sat on just to relive those moments. That is the other picture. Okay. So let me just tell you about now, gets into the topic, beyond engineering. See, I am not an expert in technology. So when Mohanan asked me to talk, my first question was, why me? I have not done anything great in the technology field. And I'm very sure that all of you are much more updated on what's happening on the technology world compared to me. So what am I going to talk? Okay. So then it occurred to me that I am going to talk to you something beyond engineering. Okay. So that is the topic today. So what is engineering all about? Engineering is about, any definition, what is engineering? Who is an engineer? Any guesses or any attempts? Who is an engineer? There are a lot of definitions for engineer. So engineer is somebody who, in my mind, solves problems. Okay? So engineering is a way of thinking. It is a mindset that will help somebody to analyze problems and come up with solutions. That is, in my mind, is engineering. Okay? And that is what an engineer does, solving problems. But then, which is the problem that one should be solving? So there are, in our country and in the world, there is no dearth of problems that needs to be solved. On one hand, India has 1.5 million engineers coming out every year, right? We have the maximum number of engineering colleges and per capita engineers compared to any other country in the world. On the other hand, we have 15 million children out of school. So which problem will we solve? Okay. So, and then we look at gender participation. We are going great in terms of economic growth, or at least that's what the government claims, that we are going to be $1 trillion economy in a few years. But if you are going to be $1 trillion economy, if that is our dream, how can the participation of women be less than 20% in our country in workforce? How is that going to happen? Okay. So is that a problem that we will solve? We, as a country, we have people, the people under poverty line has been coming down drastically. But even today, we have 4.5 crore people living below poverty line. Is that the problem that we are going to solve? Or is the problem about, there is another problem that we are solving for our customers, the corporates. Mobile phones, latest technology coming in. We are solving, we have sent people to moon. We have come up with missiles. Last year has been great for ISRO. They have done Chandrayaan, they have done they have done Akash missile, then INS Vikrant came up, all engineering marvels. But at the same time, we have 4.5 crore people living in hunger. Is that the problem? Which problem will we solve? We also have a large number of children who are going hungry every day. But at the same time, there are reports that say that obesity, childhood obesity is going to be a problem in India, with 15% are already getting into that phase. So which problem will we solve? Okay. So as engineers, there are a lot of problems that we need to solve, and that is why, and there is a lot of interlinkages between all this. And you probably would have, I understand that you have a section on sustainable engineering, right? Sustainable engineering, probably all of you have studied, so I'm not going to talk much on that. But I just want to touch upon how this came about. What is sustainable development? How many of you have heard about SDG, Sustainable Development Goals? Raise your hands. Yeah, most of you have heard. So I'm not going to touch upon each one individually. But let's look at how it evolved. So this came up as a follow-up to the 2000 initiative of the Millennium Development Goals, where the idea was to focus on few areas to ensure that there is more equitable development, etc. But then by 2012, in the Rio Earth Meet, it was decided that, the MDG was up to 2015. But in 2012, it was felt that we need to look at all these things more holistically, and there was a need to look beyond 2015, and so that is when the Sustainable Development Goals came about. Okay? So Sustainable Development Goals will look at providing people who can, dignity, that they can live with dignity. There is no hunger in the world, and we take care of the environment of Earth. All these things are interlinked. So, for example, if you look at this, these are the 17 Sustainable Development Groups. Do you know where India stands today? What is the rank? We are doing very well. 121 out of 166. That is how bad we are. We are really bad in sustainable development. Okay? Yes, we have made progress. I think in climate action and responsible consumption and production, those are areas where we have met the goals for 2030. But in all other areas, we are having challenges, especially in cases like gender equality. We are scoring somewhere close to 60%, and which is very poor. And the top country in the world on that is Denmark, Scandinavian country. So no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, all these are interlinked. We cannot have sustainable development without addressing all these aspects. Give an example. When Uber came, it really broke the mold on how business is being done, right? In US first, and then when it came to India also, Indians, especially in metros, they were grabbed with a lot of interest. I don't have to drive. I have a car at my beck and call. So Uber, Ola, all that, it disrupted the model for the regular taxi, auto, and all that. But then what happened? After that, if you go to Bangalore, there is ride sharing, bike sharing app now, right? So that came. And then yesterday, a few weeks back, there was a news item which said that the auto fellows in Bangalore ganged up and, assaulted a bike sharing ride app rider, because they said it is illegal. It cannot be allowed because it is impacting their business. And so any time an business interruption happens, it is affecting people. It is affecting their ability to live a dignified life. It is affecting their ability to have a good health, good food, etc. Okay, so every time an innovation comes in, it has a social aspect also. So there needs to be a balance. And a lot of times this happens because need has been replaced by greed in everything, be it corporate or be it individuals. The way we live, it is not about what we need to live versus, I'm greedy for the best. That has brought in a lot of changes in this side. Okay, next slide, please. So let us look at the evolution of giving. I'll just spend a few minutes. I just want to let you know about, how the development, sustainable development industry, everything, that is going to connect with the social sector, and, and I'll be talking a lot more on my experience in social sector as we go along. So let us look at in the case of India. Indians were always known for giving. So if you look back in all our Puranas or Vedas or Bible or wherever, we can see that guests who came to your house were treated like God. So we were really, really caring for the benefit or for the well-being of others. Okay? So that was built into our culture. And, but over a period of time, it got into, a lot of it was into religious giving. Okay, so if you look at many of our states, especially when I was recently in Gujarat, and there the concept of giving through so many charitable trusts and associations, MUDs are there, which have been giving a lot into space. And then we have, if you look at the more modern history of India, we have convent schools, teachers, missionaries who were involved in education. I have myself have studied in a convent school. So there has been a culture of giving in our country, but then now it is more about moving from charity, doing charitable activities to more philanthropic activity. That is how the scene is moving, not just in India, but across the world. So what is the difference? Sure. So charity is short term. We feel very emotional about, we see somebody going out without food or a child begging on the street, we do something immediately. We buy a meal and help them, or, so that is charity. But philanthropy is about looking at it at a much higher level and strategically addressing these problems so that the root causes can be identified and fixed. Does it sound like engineering? What do you do in engineering? We find the cause, we identify the problem, we find the cause, and we find a solution, right? So that engineering mindset is coming into the social space as well. And then we had a very great thing that our government did sometime in 2013. It is called the CSR, Indian Companies Act, because of which corporates of certain size, like if they have more than 1,000 crore revenue, or if they have more than 5 crore net profit in a year for 3 years, then they have to give 2% of their profit towards CSR activities, which means this money is to be utilized for the good of the collective good of the society. Okay, so that was a game changer in many ways. Okay, where even earlier, companies like Tata, they had invested quite a bit on a lot of this CSR activities, even before the law came in place. But India was the first country to bring in legislation to implement CSR. Forget about the fact that a lot of it is being misused. Maybe it is being used to build big statues. Maybe it is being used to have I Love Thrissur kind of boards. But I can assure you that having worked in this space for the past 10 years, it has become very, very powerful tool. And I can see how corporates have evolved in their thinking, not by giving, just by giving money, but many of them have been thinking about building green campuses. How do we become carbon neutral? How can we, addressing, all of them have got ESG goals now, environment sustainability goals now. Okay, in addition to the financial goals. Of course, money moves everything, but good corporations, great corporations have started looking at ESG as an aspect of how they work. And so this partnership is between all the players is working. So now I will come to my problem. What is the problem that I am trying to solve? So there are so many problems, but it is important to be focused. And so I'll just share with you what is the problem that I'm trying to solve. If you can see the picture, that is the problem that I'm trying to solve, but that's not exactly what you think it is. But before that, I'll just share a video with you which will explain what is the problem that I'm trying to solve.
So 2 years ago, this wouldn't have been possible because I have never dreamt of sitting on a plane or going to a global this on a global stage representing my country. It wouldn't have been. So 2 years ago, this wouldn't have been possible because I have never dreamt of sitting on a plane or going to a global event like this on a global stage representing my country. It wouldn't have been possible without Vidyadhan.
Today, India has a very low gross enrollment ratio standing at 25.8%. This is much below global averages. We started our journey to tackle 3 key challenges. Firstly, poor awareness of available opportunities. Secondly, the lack of access to good educational infrastructure. And lastly, affordability is a key challenge because of the economic constraints of the family.
Vidyadhan supported me in my education for 4 years, so I now become a successful software engineer. And now I'm able to help my family out and we have a home.
These are just some of our touching student stories. Vidyadhan is committed to providing an impact on a large scale.
Almost 88% of the students came from families who were below poverty line. And we also found that within a course of 2 years, 100% of them are able to bring their families out of poverty.
So I think with Vidyadhan, it was a perfect fit. There's a whole process and an organization to identify the talent. The way it's done, all electronically, so transparent, the aid going to the child directly, it's beyond words.
Hi everyone, I'm Rupa from Andhra Pradesh, Srikakulam district. I met with an accident in 2019. Then I got a spinal cord injury. Then doctor informed me you can't work in future like that. Then I completely lost my confidence. Vidyadhan stands behind me. I'm a wheelchair para badminton player. So recently I participated in national. There I won gold medal and silver medal. After that I participated Thailand international tournament, then Uganda international tournament, then Japan. There I got 3 silver medals. So now I am so excited to participate in Thailand international tournament again. Life may knock you down, but your strength is measured by how many times you stand back up. You are not just sponsors, you are the architects of dreams. Thanks for being my constant companions on this extraordinary journey. Thank you so much, Vidyadhan. I carry your spirit with me. Thank you so much.
Okay, sorry about the technical glitch. I just wanted to share with you how I got into this Vidyadhan and how the journey has been. It's a completely different journey from the first 22 years of my career. Okay. So once I left engineering college, I managed to get into IT industry. I was in IIT Chennai after marriage, and for 2 years I got into systems training program, and then I got into IT industry. And after that, I did my MBA, and then later got into Infosys after my MBA. And I stayed there for close to 20 years. And so in 2014, when I decided to move to social sector, the question before me, I have always been interested in doing something, giving back to society, because I consider myself a very fortunate person. I have been lucky I really won the genetic lottery when I was born to my parents. Okay, they supported me throughout. And then I really got lucky with my partner, with my husband, who actually had more aspirations for me than myself when I started my career. Okay. And then I was lucky with my in-laws, with my children, so I have been a very fortunate person. And I thought that if I have to give back something to the society, that was the time. So after my second son got into college, that is when I decided this is the right time. I wanted to do something before I became too old and it became a retirement activity. Okay? So that is how I joined this program called Vidyadhan. And this is a program that is run by, actually funded by Mr. Shibulal. You probably would have heard of him as one of the co-founders of Infosys, and his wife, Kumari Shibulal. It is their personal foundation, and they had a program. They had a program to support the higher education of children, and it was at that time prevalent only in Kerala. It started with 2 scholarships in the school where Mr. Shibulal studied in Alappuzha. Okay? And then when I joined, my brief was to scale the program to all the states in India, okay, and make sure that we bring in like-minded people to be part of this program. So that was my 2-line brief, what I had to do as part of this. I knew it was going to be a different journey, okay, but I did not realize how different. So, for example, I lived in Bangalore for over 20 years. I did not know how to speak Kannada beyond Uta Ita. That's it, So, because we did not have to, we lived in a different world. When you get into Electronic City, that is a different world altogether. You have, the best of restaurants. You have so many options of food courts, gym, swimming pool, whatever. It was a completely different world from the world outside. And the first time I started in Karnataka, I was the only person. And I had to interview students from northern Karnataka who are like, those districts are like really, really backward districts in Karnataka. And they speak a Kannada which was very, very different from Bangalore Kannada. Okay, and then I had to interview them. They speak no English. They speak, pathetic, their English. They are all government school children. English is really bad. And my Kannada being what it is. But we were able to. And what I realized is that all these children whom I have, over this past 10 years, I have interviewed thousands of children. Every student is a role model for me. There is a lot to learn from them, which you will never learn from your corporate life. Okay, so when I interviewed, my first interview in Telangana, I still remember, that girl has scored 90% marks. Okay, and when I went into the background, her father was in jail for killing her mother. Okay, and it is not an isolated case. There were future interviews, I heard similar problems like that. And then there were children of Devadasis. Can you imagine? Did you know that Devadasi system still existed in India? It still exists in parts of Karnataka. We had children from that background. We had children where both parents were AIDS patient or lost their lives to AIDS patient. We have children, anything of any social problem in India, our children are a reflection of that. But despite that, they have all scored so well. They have that will to win, go beyond all these challenges. I should say that our children in Kerala are much, much fortunate when you compare to some of the children that I see in the less developed states. There are problems of caste. When some child told me that the student's classmate will not talk to him because he belonged to a lower caste. And they cannot share food. They will not share food with each other in schools. The students' parents, that caste people, were in a separate part of the village. Nobody of the higher, so-called higher caste will go to that village. We don't see any of these problems. I have never seen these problems in my life. Okay, so, and then there are girls who are like 15, 16 saying, madam, if you do not give me the scholarship, I am going to be married off to somebody. Okay, so these are the challenges, these are the problems that had to be solved, okay, and I had to focus. Though I showed you a picture of a house, you know, that is an illustration of a house from where a differently abled child came. Okay, and you don't have to go far, it is from our own Thrissur district. Okay, so if you look at our children, their currently we have over 7,000 students. We take them after 10th, help them with their graduation till they complete their graduation or PG, whichever case may be, for 5 to 7 years. We provide them financial support, more important, training and mentoring. Because given their background, what is most important for them is to look at possibilities outside the standard answers that we get. I want to be a doctor, or I want to be IAS officer. Engineering has gone down in most states. But in Andhra and Telangana, still it is like people sell their land to put the children in coaching classes, like corporate coaching classes, like your Akash, Narayana, that kind of thing, so that they will get into IIT. So they are that crazy about engineering in AP and Telangana. But majority of our students are still science students, because in society there is a preference for, they equate science with intelligence, okay, and merit. So that pressure is on them, so majority are that, and all of them are from government schools, and I can very proudly say that our dropout ratio is less than 0.5%. And these children, when they are able to get out and get a good job, they are able to get their families out of poverty within 2 years. There, and the first time salary is 3.2 times the scholarship amount that we have given. So there is a return of investment, so as to say, if you use the corporate jargon. Okay, so we have students. I can tell you several stories. There was this girl from Shimoga, and she was the first girl in her village to come to Bangalore and study engineering. So all the family members had to face questions like, you know, why send your daughter? Why waste your money on a girl? Why send to Bangalore? Why engineering? So many questions. Okay, and then she completed engineering. She got into Indian Navy as an officer, and the same people welcomed the entire family with the band there. You know, it is, they celebrate like that, they also criticize like that. That is the way of villages there. Okay, so now everybody is coming and getting her advice, her parents' advice, where should I send my daughter to? So these kind of programs are not just about giving scholarship amount or enabling one person. It is about breaking stereotypes, you know, and now the girls are seen as providers in many cases. Earlier, it was a shame for many families to think that I have to depend on my daughter for something. That thought will not come into their mind. Now we have the girls who are helping their parents build homes. Okay, and we have, you know, one son of a diamond worker from Gujarat. His starting package was 36 lakhs. Can you imagine? Okay, and his father would not have seen that kind of thing, over, you know, in his lifetime. Okay, that's the kind of thing. Okay, so this is the program, and the larger program that is being addressed is higher education. Higher education is something that will transform the lives of people. Okay, next. So how can we create the social impact, and who are the key players there? As I said, all this is interlinked. There is a lot of linkage. So of course, on one side, there are funders, sponsors who will provide the financial support. who have the ability to provide the financial support. Then you have people like us who are implementing, somebody who is out there on the ground and trying to provide these services to the beneficiaries. And then there is the government and the regulatory bodies around it. All of them have a certain role to play. And there has to be a sense of trust, mutual trust, respect, transparency. And we should stay the course. It is very easy to say that we, over this 10 years, we have felt several challenges. COVID came. We used to have a very stringent selection process. We get our 50,000 applications this year. And from that, we take 2,800 students. Okay, so we have tests, we have interview, we have home visits to make sure that they are really from needy background. And when we do this, COVID came, we used to call everybody to the nearby town or whatever and conduct the test and everything. But COVID came and we had to think differently. And that is where the engineering mind comes in. And I'm very proud to say that the solution for how to conduct the test online with video proctoring and a mobile-based solution, because there are so many solutions available on laptop. Our children or our applicants are not from that. They are from less than 2 lakh income kind of families. So we had to come up with a solution which can enable children to take the test on mobile with video proctoring. And I'm very proud of the fact that my team, none of them are engineers. They are social workers. They came up with the solution. You provide the engineering mindset. You don't really, and then the technology and all that are different parts of the puzzle. But this is how you can engineer a solution to a social problem. Okay? So, and then respect. Many times when people give something, they expect loyalty. They expect that, oh, that person should be grateful. No. It is our responsibility. We owe it to these students to have an equal opportunity to thrive in this world, to succeed in this world. So it is not gratitude that you should expect. It is mutual respect. And then transparency. And one of the challenges when we talk about students is students by and large do not lie much about their social situation or this thing, but they have been coached by their parents to misrepresent facts. So sometimes students with multiple scholarships apply, or they say that, it's not that, but there have also been instances when one of them have come and tell, Madam, please don't tell this to my parents. I don't want the scholarship my parents can afford. Please give it to somebody else. So that has also happened. Okay. So this is the thrust of all these things, that we need to be this mutual dependence and coordination is extremely important if we have to make an impact. Next slide. So what is really important? Is idea what matters in solving the problems? So even in corporate world, it may be an idea or the purpose. What is the purpose? What is the problem that you are trying to solve? Okay, so be very, very focused on that. It is, the quality of idea is important. Of course it is important. But are ideas enough? No. It is only if it gets implemented. If it's the execution that makes the difference. So why does government fail in so many programs despite good intent? Because the execution is poor. Okay, so we need to make sure that the execution of the programs or whatever that we are involved in is equally important, if not more important than the idea or the purpose that we have in mind. Then it should be for collective good. So many times when we talk in our thing, it is my career, my life. Okay, and that works very well in probably in a campus environment. When you get into a company or in a corporate, it is about collective effort. So a person in the team doesn't work as well as you, the entire team gets bogged down. right? So it is important to work as a team for the collective good, be it for the organization or if it is in the case of social cause. It is the same concept, work for the collective good. And then end of the day, it is all about money. It matters in the world. And why does money matter? The power of money is its ability to give it away. If you cannot have the ability to give it away, and if you do not have the ability to decide when to use the money, whom to give the money, money has no meaning. It has no power. Okay, so it is very important. In corporate sector, it's more important. Or even in non-profit sector, it is important because money is what helps us to implement all these programs on the ground. Next slide, please. And many people have asked me, what is different between working in a corporate world and working in social sector? In my mind, it is that in corporate sector, you use this more. In the social sector, you do a lot of it with your heart. So it's about empathy. It's about having patience, lots and lots of patience. It is about resilience, not taking your eyes off the goal. That is what makes that's the change that I see in social sector. One thing I would urge all of you to do is never stop learning. What you learned here, 90% of it you will never use in your work or in your later of life. But what you learn here is how to solve the problem. That will stay with you. And there will be new tools, new technologies that will come. So please never stop learning. I was in Boston last year, and I never thought I will get into a university like Harvard, for example, But when I went there, that was a training for women from different countries across the world. You can see people of different ages, older than me, younger than me, and different colors, different skin colors, different socioeconomic background. And so learning is extremely important. How you learn, I leave it to you. You can now there are so many options, certifications are there, but learn from each other. And I think something that pulls us back is the fear of failure. So the best thing that I'll tell you that you can learn best is when you fail. So please do not be afraid of failing. That really is one of the greatest teachers for you. So I'll just conclude this by saying, tech for good. So technology for good. There are multiple ways in which technology can be used for good, So if any of you are interested in getting into an unconventional career path after this in the social sector, there are ways in which you can use your engineering mindset and look at solving a social problem. There is a lot of money in that. People are willing to invest in social enterprises. So if you have an idea about waste management in a particular situation, or energy saving, or whatever, or women empowerment, or education, whatever be it, there are people willing to invest. So social entrepreneurship, that is a lot of the startups in that area are getting funding. There are funds that focus only on that also. Assistive technology. Have you thought about how technology can make the life of differently abled better? So much, especially with the advent of AI, etc., the learning part, so how the brain analyzes the signal and give that signal, transmit that signal to somebody who cannot walk or who cannot see. If technology can mimic those signals, it would mean that people do not have to spend their time on wheelchair. They can have an active life. It will mean that people who are visually impaired, studies shows that 80% of the visually impaired children are not getting to school or getting to college. Okay, so if they can have an equal opportunity to study, technology is the solution. Technology can really help in those areas. Or if you want to know how is this technology, I mean social sector world, now many organizations are offering fellowships. So like Gandhi Fellows, Ashoka Fellows, we are offering fellowships. So it will be for 2 years. You will be given an opportunity to work in a social sector problem. You help in resolving that problem and you get paid for that. Okay, and that has got a lot of value when you decide to get into, if you decide to get into the corporate side of things. That experience is very much valued. Okay, so, and then you probably would have heard about several giving pledges that many ultra uber rich individuals like Bill Gates and all of those others have taken about. They are giving the money. See, their 1 year revenue is more than the total GDP of 4 or 5 African countries. Okay, so that's the kind of wealth. Even in India, the biggest challenge that we have today is about, though our GDP is growing, the gap between the haves and have-nots is increasing. It is the largest gap in the last 40 years that we are running. 1% of people are having 25% of the wealth concentrated in their hands. Okay, so there are a lot of problems that need solving. I request all of you to use your engineering mindset and be part of resolving, help be part of solving those problems. Can technology alone solve these problems? Can technology solve these problems? Yes, they have a role to play. Can technology alone solve these problems? Certainly not. If we understand that, and if we apply our learning, our mindset, and then I am pretty sure that there will not be any problem in India that is not solvable. So finally, I'll close here. In your life, you will be at crossroads many times. When you complete education is one such time, which way to go. Or it could be in terms of personal choices, when to get married, whether to have children, when to have children, personal choices, where to live, where to study. Should I study further? Should I go and follow thousands of youngsters from Kerala who are in different countries now? Or should I continue my studies, or should I make my life here? These are all choices that everybody will have to make at some time or other in their life. I would just say that look at all aspects. Do not look at it only from me now. Look at from the larger picture. What is my problem? What is the problem that I'm trying to solve with this? Then you will get the right answer. And whatever be the case, you take your decision in your life. Do not blame somebody else if the decision fails. You do not blame your parents if they force you to get into a course that you do not like. Do not blame them. You should have convinced them. In your life, the key decisions should be taken by you, good or bad. Whatever be the outcome, better own those results. You will only learn from them and do better. Okay? So with that, I'll stop here. If there are any questions, I'll be happy to answer. Any questions? മലയാളത്തിലായാലും ഇംഗ്ലീഷിലായാലും ചോദിക്കാം. I did not. So I understand your question. I'll just like to correct you. I did not say that you have to be ruthless in corporate world. I said that what I meant was that you probably take decisions using logic, brain, but when it comes to social sector, emotions are involved. But let me assure you that in corporate world is also, it is cutthroat in many sense. But I was fortunate, I could become part of the IT industry, which was in the sunrise, which was a sunrise sector at that time. So it was very exciting time. We were all working 24 hours, but we never were forced to do that. Okay, so that atmosphere was like that. Yes, we are contributing to something. That kind of excitement was there. But later years, then, when you go up in the corporate ladder, you will have to take decisions which will not be popular. Many times it will not be popular. So Infosys, for example, had this thing about no layoffs for employees. But we used to have, when there will be business cycle, right? When the business cycle is on the downside, revenue, profit, everything come down. So employees will also have to pay a price for that. Okay, it is not that we can protect, it is unlike government. So then what is the thing? You know that people have worked as hard in the current year compared to the previous year. But when you do the performance review, you are still required to put them in certain categories. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the people in 1 will get higher salary, 2 next, like that. So sometimes it is very, very hard to tell people who have put in excellent effort, okay, and probably the results were not in their control. Whatever task assigned to them was done very well by them. But you are telling them you are average. That is not a good feeling for the person doing the review and the person who is listening to it. I struggled with it initially. The first time when I became a manager, I did not know how to do this. Conveying bad news is extremely difficult. Do not think that managers are heartless. In many times, if you have a problem, if you talk with the managers, the chances are that you will get a lot more support than if you keep all those things within yourself. So yes, you have to take tough decisions, but won't you take that in your life as well? You have an opportunity to go and work in New Zealand or study in New Zealand with full scholarship. Your parents are alone here and probably they are unwell. You still may decide to go, right? Does that mean that you are ruthless? It is not. You have to take decisions. Sometimes we have to make choices, difficult choices. We have to look at everything based on all the information and take the decision. Whatever decision you make, you have to make it right. That is the only thing. There's no right and wrong decision. I strongly believe that. Once you take it, make it right for you. Any other question? Okay, so these students, how we identify is, in different states it's different. In Kerala, it's very easy. If you put the write-up in the newspapers, people read newspapers, okay, and then they start applying. But when we went to states like Odisha, it was very difficult because we were getting the application only from Bhubaneswar or Cuttack, which were like the capital city and the twin city kind of thing. So, but 80% of Odisha has the maximum number of tribal population in the country. They don't read. They don't know how to read. They don't have access to newspapers. And they have schools, in government schools, classes from 1 to 8 will all be sitting in together and there will be one teacher. That is the situation in many cases even now. So how to reach there was a huge challenge for us. And we really struggled initially to get from those districts. Then UP, Bihar, Jharkhand. So what we have done is we also go and talk to the education department. And if that person is good, then they will share it with the rest of the teachers network, headmistress network and all that thing, principal network and all that. Then it will help us. Then otherwise, sometimes in Karnataka, they put it in the website for the teachers. So they will get, because our focus is only on government schools, not others. So that is what. Now social media, through social media, because we are getting large number of applications, there are several sites that have started picking up the information about our thing. And then what we also do is each one get 10. That is what we tell our current students. You go and get 10 students to apply from your neighboring areas, from the neighboring schools, etc. And each state has got a state coordinator. It is important that they speak the language. So, but one person cannot reach all the schools, right? So selectively they will go and, talk to the DEOs or people who are like that. So once you are in 3 to 4 years in a state, then people get to know, so there is chances. So then they apply. Everything is online, right from application till we complete the interview, everything is online. For home visits, we actually physically visit the house. Yes, yeah. Yes. Because of the amount that we can. So our foundation, okay, so I talked about transparency, right? So after I came, I did not touch upon that, but one of my briefing was to bring other people onto this board. So we built a platform called technology platform called Vidyadan portal, and in that portal, the students can be selected by the sponsors. And what we said that to ensure transparency, utmost transparency, whatever money they give goes directly to the student. We are not taking a single rupee from anybody for our uses. So, because many times NGOs get into this trap of, taking a lot of it for their administrative activities. So if you give 100, only probably 40 or 50 reaches the final person. And there are also a lot of inefficiency, because my corporate background also helped me in designing these systems and processes so that we are very lean and, not mean, we are very lean and efficient. Okay, so that has really helped. And the factors that we look at, of course, the marks. And in addition, what we call as neediness factors. So neediness factors includes if they are studying in a government school, if they have lost their parents, if they have physical disability, if they are from single parent families, if they are studying in Malayalam medium or Tamil medium, like that. So those are all indicators of that. So all that is done, then test mark. After that, we do the interview. And then in interview, we look at two things. One, where there's economic background, and second, will to win. Whatever may be the case, if you have the will to win, that you will not give up, that is what we look for. Otherwise, it is a waste of our money or effort, that opportunity for another person who could have utilized that. So it is very tough to say no to these children, because it's very hard, very hard. So, but now we have more and more corporates joining us, and that is why, because they like our transparency, they like the fact that we don't charge them any zero administrative. They like the fact that they can see all the information on the portal. They like the fact that we provide them all the financial reports on time. So there is a trust that we are doing it. There is an alignment of purpose. So we are able to scale much faster. We have more students getting sponsored by external sponsors now. When we started, it was trickle, but now the game has changed. Any other questions? Yeah. Right. So that's what it's a very relevant question. Any decision is a difficult decision. Some are very easy, but life-changing decisions are very difficult to take. There are some techniques, personal level, which I have tried it with my son when he was deciding which college to join after +2. He got, those days, you had to write multiple examination if you have to get into medical college. Now there is only one NEET. So he got in 3 different colleges. So through Karnataka entrance, he got in Manipal. Then through All India entrance, he got in Mysore Medical College. And then the third was, he got into AFMC, Armed Force Medical College. So how do you decide? So I told him, this is the decision matrix. What are the most, what is your, how do you select, what are the 3 or 4 attributes that you like or that will help you make the decision? Okay, so he said, there are 3-4 factors. Of course, good college, there should be a lot of patience, and then, opportunity to have some sports, play sports was some of his criteria, whatever be the criteria. So 4 or 5 factors he identified. And I asked him to rate each one of them, on a scale of 1 to 5. And which factor, attribute, I also asked him to give some weightage, which is most important for you among these 4 or 5 factors. So it was just a matter of, calculating my engineering or, just look at it and say, oh, just put it in your Excel and you know which has the maximum score, and then you do it. It so happened that AFMC was his first choice, and that was what came up in that. He joined there. Okay, so this is the thing, so the plus and minus will be there. So if you join armed force, the minus is that at 17 years you are committing to be in army. Okay, so we had to give them a safety net. Okay, you decide, you can opt out after 20, once you complete it. If you still feel you have to continue, go ahead. If you don't want, do that. So that is what as parents we can do as a safety net. But when you take the decisions in corporate life, there will be safety nets, which is your manager. Okay. So they will try to protect the interest of the employees to the extent possible. I can tell you very frankly that I have fought more for my team members' increments and promotions than I have fought for myself, my increment or promotion. I have never had those discussions with them. So if you have a good manager, if you have a good leader, yes, you will have to take tough decisions, but it always helps if you can explain it to them, why you have taken that decision. Okay? So yes, you have done well, but it is a relative ranking. That is what HR needs us to do. And so that is the policy. We have to do that. It doesn't mean you are bad. It means somebody has done better. Okay, and these are the factors. So it is important to have some measurements. Be as much objective as you can when you even when you tackle softer subjects like this. So it's something, a skill that you have to learn, and it's the trust. And if you are seen as being fair, if you are transparent about how you make the decisions, your team will accept the decision even if it is a tough decision. Any other questions? Or time up? Okay then, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Meera ma'am, for sharing your thoughts and opportunities in social sector, which is beyond engineering. And once again, thank you, ma'am, for your enlightening words. Moving forward, it's time to express our gratitude and appreciation. Firstly, we will have the memento distribution to our esteemed guest, Meera Rajeevan, by the College Alumni Association. Could I please request Professor Naushija ma'am, retired professor from Civil Department, Alumni 1988 batch, to come forward and present the memento.
batchmates.
Yes. In fact, I was about to tell that we are batchmates, and in fact, I was in the same batch as theirs, 88, but in the civil department. And it is always a pleasure to listen to her. In fact, I have told this in an earlier meeting in the same platform. She was the vice chairman of our college at that point of time. And I still recall the, Meet the Candidate program in which she had given an excellent speech. So you can actually relate that even now, you know, how interestingly she has put forward all her points. That was one of a kind at that point of time. I still recall that. And then she was also a university second rank holder for the pre-degree at that point of time. So she's been a point of inspiration right from those days. It's always a pleasure listening to you, Meera. Thank you.
Next, I invite Dr. M.S. Sinit sir to present a memento to Meera Rajeevan ma'am on behalf of EZ Alumni.